In a small town called Bramblewood, a young woman named Sarah works at a local marketing firm. Greenfield is peaceful, filled with trees, parks, and friendly people. The town is not big, but it has everything Sarah needs to feel happy. Every day, Sarah takes the bus to work. She loves this time to think about her dreams and plans. Sarah is 28 years old and has a kind heart, but she often feels unsure of herself. Her friends say she is a creative person. They say she has many good ideas, but Sarah does not always believe this. Sarah graduated from university with a degree in business. After school, she worked hard to find a job. She finally got a position at the marketing firm, and at first, she was excited. However, soon after starting, she experienced challenges. Her boss, Mr. Jenkins, is strict and often gives her many tasks to complete. Sarah feels stressed when there is too much to do. Sometimes, she worries she cannot handle the pressure. It is hard for her to say no when he asks for more work. Besides work, Sarah loves to paint and draw in her free time. Art makes her feel alive and helps her express herself. She often paints at home on weekends. When she creates art, she forgets about her worries. Her paintings often show beautiful landscapes and bright colors. They reflect her longing for a peaceful life. However, she fears sharing her art with others. She worries that people might not like her work. This fear often stops her from submitting her art to local shows. Sarah also has a small group of friends who support her. They often meet for coffee and share their hopes and dreams. Her best friend, Mia, is always there to listen. Mia is outgoing and encourages Sarah to be more confident. They sometimes talk about their jobs and the issues they face. While Mia pushes Sarah to take risks, Sarah feels pressure to keep up with her friend's adventurous personality. Many personal challenges await Sarah in her life. Learning new skills is one challenge. She wants to improve her work performance, but it feels hard at times. She sometimes thinks, "What if I fail?" This thought makes her hesitate. Building strong relationships is another challenge she faces. Sarah is very friendly, but she finds it difficult to open up to others. She fears rejection and often feels alone, even in a crowd. Another obstacle for Sarah is her desire to achieve her goals. She wants to become a better marketer and an artist. She dreams of having her own art gallery one day. To reach her goals, she needs to believe in herself. She understands that facing her fears and hard work are important steps. Throughout these experiences, Sarah will learn valuable lessons about confidence, persistence, and growth. Each challenge becomes an opportunity for her to change and grow. This journey will not be easy, but the lessons she learns will be worth the effort. As Sarah continued her work at the marketing firm, a new challenge began to grow. It started when a new coworker named Lisa joined the team. At first, Sarah thought Lisa seemed nice. They smiled at each other in the hall and exchanged polite words. However, as the days went by, Sarah realized things were different. Lisa had a sharp tongue and often made mean comments. The words felt like small cuts, painful and unfair. One morning, they worked together on a project. Sarah had good ideas and was excited to share them. "I think we should use bright colors for the ads," Sarah said, smiling. But Lisa shot back right away. "Bright colors? Are you sure? This is a serious business, not a children's party." Sarah felt her heart drop. The other team members heard Lisa's words, and they looked at Sarah. It was awkward and uncomfortable. Later that week in a meeting, things got worse. Their boss, Mr. Jenkins, called on Sarah to present her work. Sarah felt nervous. She stood in front of everyone, ready to speak. But as she began, Lisa interrupted her. "Oh, look, it's Sarah's art show again," Lisa said with a loud laugh. "Does anyone want to see a real marketing plan?" Sarah's face became hot with shame, and she looked down at her notes. She wanted to speak, but the words stuck in her throat. It was hard to stand up in front of her boss and coworkers. After the meeting, Sarah felt anxious. Talk about self-doubt crept into her mind. Maybe Lisa is right, she thought. Maybe I am not working hard enough. Sarah wished she could be as confident as Mia, who always knew what to say. She did not want to be the target of Lisa's jokes. It hurt to see Lisa gain attention from others at her expense. Despite these challenges, Sarah decided to keep pushing forward. She talked to Mia about her struggles. "It's like Lisa wants to make me look bad, and I don't know how to respond," Sarah said with worry in her voice. "You can do it, Sarah," Mia replied, placing a hand on her friend's shoulder. "You have many great ideas. Don't let her take that away from you." Mia's words lit a small spark inside Sarah, but the fear was still there. How can she find her voice and not let Lisa's words pull her down? The following week, Sarah faced another problem. She overheard Lisa gossiping about her in the break room. I don't know why Sarah got that project. She is just lucky, Lisa said. One of the other employees looked uncomfortable but did not say anything. Sarah stood just outside the room, listening, feeling crushed. How could someone talk like this? It made her feel small and powerless. As days went on, the toxic environment in the office grew. Sarah found it hard to focus on her work. Every time Lisa laughed or made an unkind remark, Sarah felt more pressure. She began to doubt her skills and worry she might fail her job. It was exhausting and very stressful. The feeling of being trapped in a corner made her anxious, but deep down, she knew she wanted to break free from Lisa's negativity. Sarah realized she had a decision to make. Would she allow fear to control her, or would she muster the courage to stand up and find her path in this difficult situation? Through all of it, she held on to hope that better days were ahead. As days turned into weeks, the stress at work began to take a toll on Sarah. She woke up each morning with a knot in her stomach. The thought of facing Lisa and the company atmosphere made her feel tired before the day even started. When she entered the office, she could feel the tension in the air. Every laugh from Lisa seemed to echo, reminding Sarah of the way Lisa belittled her ideas. Sarah noticed that she was losing her focus and making mistakes. Tasks that were once easy for her now felt overwhelming. One afternoon, while working on a new marketing plan, Sarah stared at her computer screen for a long time. The words blurred together, and she could not think. She had so many great ideas, but they just would not come out. Feeling low, she thought about how Lisa's comments made her doubt herself. Maybe I am not smart enough, she whispered to herself. These thoughts felt heavy, almost like a weight on her shoulders. In her heart, she felt lost and alone. In a moment of isolation, while the team enjoyed lunch together, Sarah sat at her desk. The sounds of chatter and laughter filled the room, but Sarah felt invisible. No one noticed her deep sadness. She took a deep breath and picked at her sandwich. The exciting talks about games and weekend plans felt far away from her reality. She wanted to join in, but felt so small compared to Lisa and the others. Each laugh made her feel more separated from the team. The internal dilemma became stronger. Should Sarah fight back against Lisa or stay silent? It was hard to think of speaking up after being hurt so many times. Maybe staying quiet would be better. But then she asked herself, is this how I want to feel forever? Each day of inaction seemed to dull her spirit a little more. Another choice weighed on her mind. Should she consider quitting? Maybe she could find a new job, a fresh beginning without all this stress. However, the thought of starting over was terrifying. What if she failed again? Later that evening, she confided in Mia once more. I feel terrible, Mia. I can't do my job well. Lisa makes me feel so small. What should I do? She asked. Mia looked at her deeply. Sarah, you are so talented. Don't let Lisa take that away from you. You should stand up for yourself. You deserve respect, she said with passion. The words were strong, yet so much doubt remained in Sarah's heart. Could she really do it? Standing up against Lisa seemed like climbing a mountain. That night, Sarah lay in bed thinking about her choices. All she wanted was to feel good at her job and share her art. Each negative experience chipped away at her confidence as if it were slowly pulling her down into a dark hole. In her dreams, she saw herself confidently presenting her ideas, inspiring others, and being the artist she wanted to be. Why can't I make that dream real? She found herself asking. The more she questioned, the more the answers felt out of reach. As days passed, her anxiety only grew. Each moment in the office felt heavier, pushing her further into doubt. Would she ever find the courage to stand up and be the person she knew she could be? As Sarah faced these obstacles, she hoped deep down for a spark of strength that would help her take control and change her story. It was time to decide. Embrace her inner power or let Lisa's negativity stop her from shining. One dreary afternoon, Sarah reached her breaking point. The stress from work had been building for weeks, and now it felt too heavy to carry. She had stayed late every day, trying to finish the marketing project for an important client. However, despite her hard work, she felt overwhelmed. Lisa had continued her cruel jokes, and Mr. Jenkins kept piling on more tasks without any praise. This made Sarah want to hide from everyone. On this particular day, Sarah decided to present her ideas in the big meeting. She worked hard to prepare, believing this could be her moment to shine. As Sarah stood in front of everyone, She felt a mix of excitement and fear. The room was bright with lights, and all eyes were on her. She took a deep breath and started to speak. "Today, I want to show," but before she could finish her sentence, Lisa interrupted her loudly. "Here we go again. I bet this will be boring," she yelled with a big, fake smile. The laughter that followed echoed in Sarah's ears. Her heart sank as she lost her voice. Sarah glanced around the room and saw some coworkers smirking. This was the moment she had prepared for, yet now it felt like a nightmare. With her hands shaking, Sarah tried to continue. "Well, I think that," but the words would not come out. The humiliation felt too much. Closing her eyes for a brief moment, she fought back tears. The pressure, the jokes, and the piles of work intensified her inner turmoil. Suddenly, she could not take it anymore. In this very moment, something shifted inside her. At that point, Sarah made the brave decision to stand up for herself. She turned to face Lisa, finally letting her voice come out. "Why do you have to make fun of me?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling but strong. "I am trying my best here. We all need to work together." The room fell silent, and Sarah's heart raced. It was scary to confront Lisa, and she felt adrenaline surging through her. Then, Mr. Jenkins spoke, breaking the heavy silence. "Sarah is right. We need to support each other," he said, but his tone was unclear. Sarah's heart sank again. She knew that talking back to both Lisa and her boss brought new worry, but something inside her pushed her to continue. "I want to contribute truly, but I feel that I cannot when teased like this," she said, looking around at her colleagues for support. As Sarah finished speaking, she felt raw emotions spill forth. It was liberating to release her fears after holding them for so long. Yet she also felt fear rising in her chest. What if I lose my job? What if nobody believes in me? These thoughts raced in an endless loop through her mind. The room felt vast and empty, even as she gained a little courage in her heart. It was a turning point for Sarah, and she felt the power of her decision wash over her, mixed with uncertainty. What would happen next? Would people see her strength? Would she get the respect she deserved? The air felt electric as she prepared for whatever storm might follow. Sarah realized this was a critical moment in her life. Something had to change. She knew instantly that this confrontation had opened a door. She could forge a new path for herself, leading toward a more confident version of her. The story of Sarah was about to take a different turn, one filled with hope and possibility. As Sarah stood in front of her colleagues, silence hung in the air after her unexpected outburst. Her heart pounded in her chest, and she could feel the heat in her cheeks. She expected some support, but was met instead with a mixture of surprise and discomfort from the room. Mr. Jenkins cleared his throat, staring at her with a hard look in his eyes. "Sarah," he said slowly, "that was not professional. You need to learn how to handle conflict better." The words hit her like a cold wave. Sarah felt her confidence crash down as shame washed over her. Did I just ruin everything? The thought sent a tremble through her body. She had hoped for a moment of recognition, a beginning of a change, but now, everything felt worse. Did opposing Lisa only bring her more trouble? It felt like the ground beneath her was disappearing. Feeling small, Sarah looked down at her hands. Her colleagues exchanged nervous glances, some whispering softly to each other. The only voice that stood out was Lisa's, snarking at her. "See, Sarah? You can't even take a little joke." Each word felt like a dagger aimed at her heart. It was as if Lisa pulled the bandages off every wound Sarah had secretly kept hidden. Anxiety bubbled up inside her, growing stronger with each passing second. What had she done? The meeting ended quickly after Mr. Jenkins spoke with Sarah privately. He told her that her outburst was not acceptable in the workplace. She felt heavy with guilt as she nodded silently. "You cannot just lash out at your coworkers, no matter the situation," he reminded her, closing the door behind him with a soft click. "Think about your future here." The words echoed in Sarah's head like a heavy drum. She loved her job, but it felt like she had poured gasoline on a fire. After the meeting, Sarah walked back to her desk feeling lost. The lively chatter around her felt like a distant sound. She faked small smiles to those who looked her way, but inside, her heart ached. All her energy seemed to leave her, replaced by worry. Would this confrontation ruin her chances for promotion? Would Mr. Jenkins see her as a troublemaker now? Depression weighed her down like a rock, and tears stung her eyes as she tried to keep them at bay. Later that day, she sat alone in the break room, staring at her coffee. She knew Mia would try to call or text, but Sarah did not want to talk. The emotional turmoil was heavy, pushing her closer and closer to thoughts she feared. Maybe I should just quit, she thought in despair. I can't handle this. That feeling of escape was strong, but it felt like a defeat. She wanted to run from this pain. The guilt inside her twisted like a knot. Did I react too strongly? Should I have stayed silent? These questions filled her mind, repeating over and over. It made her doubt herself even more. All the confidence she felt moments before slipped away, leaving uncertainty in its place. As the day dragged on, Sarah collected her things to leave. The path to her car felt like a long journey filled with sadness. She thought about her dreams and how far they seemed. The journey ahead felt dark and uninviting. In that moment of deepest sorrow, she realized she faced not just Lisa's mockery, but her own self-doubt. What would she do from here? That night, as Sarah sat on her bed staring out the window, she felt lost in a swirl of emotions. The dark sky mirrored her feelings of uncertainty. Just then, her phone buzzed. It was Mia, asking if they could talk. Sarah hesitated, but then realized she needed her friend. She replied with a simple yes, and moments later, Mia arrived at her apartment. When Mia walked in, she could see something was wrong. "Sarah, what happened at work today?" she asked gently. Sarah took a deep breath and told her everything. As she spoke, the weight of her feelings began to lift and unravel. "I felt so small, and now I regret standing up for myself," Sarah admitted. "No, Sarah, you did not do anything wrong," Mia encouraged her. "Standing up is hard, but you needed to say how you felt." Lisa was crossing the line. Hearing Mia's words made Sarah feel a spark of hope return. Having someone who believed in her meant everything right now. Mia continued, "You cannot let someone like Lisa control you." In that moment, something clicked inside Sarah. She realized she had a choice. Instead of staying trapped in fear, she could change her thoughts about herself. "I have the power to take control of my own story," she thought. Reflecting on the past weeks made her see how strong she was for a long time. She had overcome challenges before, and she could do it again. Once Mia left, Sarah sat quietly for a while, deep in thought. She pulled out her sketchbook, which she had set aside for too long. As she began to paint, the colors flowed onto the page like a river of emotion, bright, bold, and full of life. In creating her art, she felt free. She realized that her creativity made her unique. It was a piece of her that no one could take away. She thought about the work problems and felt a new sense of determination rising within her. The disappointment from earlier faded. "I've got to take a stand for my work and for myself," she whispered to herself. With this newfound clarity, she began to plan. If talking to Mr. Jenkins did not go well, she would look for support from the human resources team. She would share her own experience and seek guidance. Days changed, and Sarah felt a growing strength in herself. At the next team meeting, she prepared more than ever. She created slides that showcased her talents and hard work. She practiced her presentation and visualized herself being confident. "Whatever happens, I will face it with courage," she thought. By the time the meeting arrived, Sarah felt a mix of nerves and excitement. As she left her desk, she reminded herself of the vibrant colors from her sketchbook. "I am an artist. I am a hard worker. I will not hide." This inner voice became her compass. With each step toward the meeting room, she felt a wave of empowerment washing over her. When she entered the room, everyone looked at her. This time, instead of shrinking away, Sarah smiled. She took a breath and gave her presentation. She felt proud of what she had created, and the support from her team made even more difference. Each word she spoke gave her strength and confidence. Sarah was ready to conquer whatever came next, finally understanding that her voice mattered. The storm of those dark moments had passed, leaving a glint of hope and a clearer path forward. As Sarah stepped out of the meeting room after her presentation, a wave of relief and joy washed over her. She had faced her fears and shared her work with confidence. The room was filled with positive energy, and Sarah noticed her colleagues nodding and smiling in support. This was a moment she had not expected, and it felt like a bright light shining after a long period of darkness. She realized that standing up for herself had placed her in a position of strength. That evening, Sarah met with Mia to share the news. "It went really well, Mia. They actually liked my ideas." Sarah's face beamed with happiness. "I feel like I finally showed who I am," she continued, her heart racing with excitement. Mia's eyes lit up as she cheered for her friend. "I knew you could do it. Your hard work deserves to be seen. You're amazing." This conversation lit another spark within Sarah. She recognized the importance of surrounding herself with supportive people who believed in her. Each kind word shared between friends strengthened their bond. She reflected on how isolating her experience with Lisa had been, but now she saw how important friendship could be. As Sarah expressed her appreciation for Mia, a gentle understanding blossomed in her heart. With newfound determination, Sarah decided to build healthy communication with everyone at work. Lisa might not change, but Sarah could choose her response. Instead of hiding from confrontation, she would remain strong and guide the way with kindness and firmness. The next day, Sarah walked into the office with her head held high. Compliments from her colleagues welcomed her like sunshine after a storm. She accepted their support and felt empowered. When Lisa made another snide remark, Sarah did not back down. "I think we can all work together better if we support each other," she said, surprising even herself. This was a new Sarah, one who refused to be silenced. The more she spoke out, the more she felt the tension in her chest dissolve. Every time she practiced these small moments of bravery, her heart grew lighter. Over the next weeks, Sarah began to transform her surroundings. She started art sessions after work with some of her coworkers, bringing them together in a healthier and creative way. They drew, painted, and shared ideas, allowing laughter to replace the silence of past stress. She loved that, while working on art, they also built connections. With every brushstroke, both her artwork and her friendships flourished. Sarah's confidence grew daily, and she realized that she was finally in control of her feelings. Self-doubt had fled, replaced by the bright energy of her creativity and friendships. Every time she faced a challenge, she remembered her journey and what she had learned. Taking small steps felt easy, and she found joy in guiding others through the same problems she had faced. As days passed by, Sarah felt proud of who she had become. The workplace no longer felt like a burden, but a space where she could thrive. With her voice clear, she inspired herself and others around her. This turning point shifted everything. Sarah knew the road ahead might still have bumps, but now she held a toolkit filled with support, art, and unyielding self-belief. She was ready to embrace her future, one creative stroke at a time. With each passing day, Sarah felt stronger and more in control at work. Inspired by her small victories and her new approach, she decided it was time to set firm boundaries. Sarah understood the importance of being clear about how she wanted to be treated, and she was ready to take action. One morning, Sarah arrived early for a meeting with Mr. Jenkins. She knew it was time to talk to him about the issues at work. As she sat waiting, she practiced her words in her mind. "I need to discuss how we can create a better work environment. It is important for everyone to feel safe," she reminded herself. When Mr. Jenkins walked in, Sarah could sense his usual tension. "Thank you for meeting with me, Mr. Jenkins. I want to talk about some recent behavior in the office," she began, feeling nervous but determined. Mr. Jenkins looked at her, eyebrows raised in surprise. "What behavior?" he asked, leaning back in his chair. Taking a deep breath, Sarah continued. "There has been bullying happening. Lisa's jokes and comments have hurt many of us, including me." Mr. Jenkins listened, but the expression on his face was unsure. "Well, you know that humor is a way to lighten the mood, right?" he replied hesitantly. Instead of backing down, Sarah stood her ground. "It is not a joke when someone feels small or unsafe. I believe we can do better as a team," she asserted, her heart pounding. As Sarah stood firm, she noticed a small shift in Mr. Jenkins' expression. He seemed to be taking her words seriously. "I see your point, Sarah. Maybe we need to address this in a team meeting," he said, finally. Relief washed over her, but also a wave of urgency. She knew this was just the beginning. In the following days, Sarah took extra steps to build a positive culture at work. She organized a team meeting to encourage everyone to share their feelings. As Sarah spoke, she felt the support of her colleagues behind her. "We need respect in our workplace. That means listening to each other and making sure nobody is bullied," she said passionately. Many coworkers nodded, and a few even spoke up in support. However, not everyone was on board with this change. Lisa rolled her eyes during the meeting and tried to make jokes. "Oh, come on. It's just a little fun," she interrupted, attempting to change the mood. Some others, however, were ready to stand by Sarah. A few of her colleagues told Lisa to stop, stating she should think about her words. This made Sarah feel proud. It felt good to see others supporting each other. Despite these little victories, New fears began to creep into Sarah's mind. Would Mr. Jenkins truly change? What if Lisa continued to bully her? However, Sarah pushed those fears aside. The strength she gained from standing up felt powerful. She learned that setting boundaries was not just an action, but a mindset. Days turned into weeks, and the atmosphere in the office felt different. Sarah welcomed the small changes. More coworkers began to speak up when Lisa made her jokes. They created a safer space where humor could thrive without hurting anyone. Sarah felt proud to be part of this change. With each hesitation, Sarah replied with calm resolve. The tension and fear that once filled the office shifted toward mutual respect. The urgent need to protect her space pushed her forward, allowing her to embrace each moment of growth. Sarah knew that more work was needed, but she was now part of a growing initiative toward healing and positivity. The action she took encouraged others to follow, creating waves of change and supporting the ongoing fight against negativity. As the weeks passed, Sarah felt a powerful shift in her workplace. Each day became a little brighter for her, and her determination grew. She saw her efforts begin to pay off in small ways. People were starting to speak up against negativity and support each other more. This change made her feel proud and hopeful for the future. One morning, the team had a meeting to go over the marketing campaign for a new product. Sarah had worked hard on the presentation, pouring her creativity and effort into every detail. As she prepared to speak, a familiar knot formed in her stomach. But this time, instead of letting her nerves win, she focused on the bright energy surrounding her. When Sarah presented her ideas confidently, every slide brought excitement to the room. She shared her vision for the marketing campaign, filled with fresh, colorful, and engaging graphics. The positive reactions from her colleagues filled the air with encouragement. They nodded in approval and even clapped when she finished. This moment was not just about a presentation. It felt like a celebration of everything she had fought for. However, the true moment of victory came when one of her coworkers, Jake, stood up and spoke. "I think Sarah's ideas are fantastic," he said passionately. "We should all support her vision and make this campaign the best it can be." His words were like a warm hug, wrapping Sarah in a cocoon of strength. Hearing someone speak in her favor made her realize that she was no longer alone in her fight against workplace negativity. She felt a surge of emotion, knowing that her efforts had inspired someone else to stand up and support what was right. This small but meaningful win solidified Sarah's growth. It was proof that she had changed. No longer did she feel trapped by fear or self-doubt. Instead, she needed to believe in herself, aligning her heart with her beliefs. The supportive environment brought new connections, lifting her spirit and fueling her determination. After that meeting, Sarah took time each day to check in with her coworkers. She made it a habit to ask how they were doing, letting them know she cared. There was power in making others feel valued, and Sarah knew firsthand how small gestures could create big changes. With each little conversation, she sparked hope in herself and others. Finding her own sense of peace was also part of this journey. Instead of letting Lisa's remarks sting, Sarah changed her perspective. She realized that Lisa's behavior was a reflection of her own struggles, not hers. It was a tough lesson, but Sarah embraced it. She focused on what she could control. Encouraging her coworkers and spreading positivity helped silence those negative thoughts. The growth she experienced felt invigorating. As Sarah embraced her new reality, fear began to fade. Confident in her voice, she understood the steps she needed to continue her progress. Each moment of support, like Jake's encouragement, reminded her to reach out and uplift those around her. Sarah now had the tools to face challenges and embrace the beautiful colors of her journey. With this renewed sense of determination, she continued to build on her wins. Moving forward, Sarah felt alive in her work and ready to confront whatever lay ahead. Celebrating these small successes prepared her for a brighter, more empowered future filled with hope and opportunity. As the weeks turned into months, Sarah found herself in a much different place than before. The support she had from her colleagues continued to thrive, and she increasingly felt a sense of belonging. The office no longer felt like a dangerous battlefield. Instead, it became a space for growth and collaboration. This change inspired Sarah to consider what mattered most to her in her career and life. One afternoon, during a break, Sarah sat at her desk with her sketchbook. She doodled ideas for a new marketing campaign, but this time, she felt a deep connection to her art. Creating was no longer just about work. It was about expressing herself and flying past her fears. She reflected on her journey and realized how much she had overcome. Taking bold steps filled her with pride. It wasn't just the changing office environment that transformed her, it was the change within herself. After a particularly successful team meeting, where her ideas received great feedback, Sarah decided it was time for her final decision. She walked into Mr. Jenkins' office with newfound confidence. "Mr. Jenkins," she began, "I want to discuss my future here." He looked at her, slightly surprised. "Sure, Sarah. What's on your mind?" "I believe in the work we do, but I want to contribute more on my own terms," she stated firmly. "I want to focus on fostering a supportive environment and make sure we keep growing together as a team. That includes protecting everyone from negativity." Mr. Jenkins listened closely. "I admire your passion, Sarah," he said slowly. "What do you have in mind?" Sarah explained a plan for workshops and team-building activities that encouraged communication and teamwork. She wanted employees to express themselves without fear. To her delight, Mr. Jenkins agreed to support the initiative. This pivotal moment filled her with joy. As Sarah stepped out of his office, she felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She was no longer just a worker. She had become a leader. Sarah stood firm in her decision to change her approach to work. She was driven by passion and positivity, focusing on what truly matters, creating a healthy workplace for herself and others. Through her actions and mindset, Sarah inspired her coworkers to share their own ideas as well. Many volunteers stepped forward to be part of the workshops. People were eager to contribute to the positive culture they had begun to build together. Even Lisa acknowledged her behavior in front of Sarah and others, admitting that she saw how bullying affected the team. "Thank you for helping me see this in a new light," Lisa said one day, walking up to Sarah's desk. "I didn't realize how my words were causing harm." Although it took great courage for Lisa to say this, Sarah felt a sense of peace in her heart. It was a strong reminder of the importance of compassion and growth. As the months went by, Sarah set long-term goals for her career. She wanted to not only thrive in her current position, but also dream bigger. Pursuing a role as a marketing director became her dream. Sarah believed that with her completed journey, she deserved success free from doubt. With every new project, Sarah focused on why she loved marketing: creativity, expression, and connection. The new workplace environment fueled her drive to succeed. Sarah's journey had taught her not only the power of resilience, but also the magic of believing in oneself. The story of struggle had transformed into a tale of triumph, moving forward confidently with hope and purpose. She was ready for whatever came next, empowered to chase her dreams and inspire others along the way. As time moved on, Sarah found herself blossoming in her role at the office. She embraced her new responsibilities with excitement and a sense of purpose. The workshops she organized became a big success, creating a positive environment where everyone felt heard. Together, the team learned how to communicate better and support one another. Sarah felt proud knowing that her efforts had made a real difference. One day, Sarah received wonderful news from Mr. Jenkins. "We want to promote you to team lead for the next campaign," he announced with a big smile. Sarah's heart leaped with joy. This was the moment she had dreamed of. She realized how far she had come and knew the promotion was a reflection of her growth. She shared this news with Mia, who jumped up in excitement and hugged her tightly. "You did it. I knew you would." Mia cheered, her eyes sparkling with happiness. But even amid this joy, Sarah did not forget about the importance of self-care. She made sure to take time for herself outside of work. Painting remained her escape, allowing her to relax and express her feelings. Each stroke on the canvas reflected her journey from doubt to confidence. With every piece she created, she grew more in tune with her passions. As Sarah's career flourished, she also took steps to continue learning. She enrolled in online courses to expand her knowledge and skills in marketing. She wanted to stay ahead in her field. Every lesson enriched her understanding and made her feel even more prepared for challenges ahead. Sarah understood that growth did not stop with her promotion. It was a continuous journey. Her newfound mindset allowed her to navigate challenges with ease. When challenges did arise, she approached them with a calm attitude and problem-solving skills. Instead of feeling defeated, she would think, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective helped her maintain a positive outlook. One bright morning, while sitting at her desk, Sarah dreamed about her future. She envisioned herself leading big projects, guiding her team toward new creativity and making a lasting impact on the company. Perhaps one day, she would even launch her own marketing agency, focused on building supportive workplace cultures. She smiled at the thought and felt the energy of possibility. The relationships she nurtured at work strengthened her confidence. Sarah began organizing team retreats, encouraging friends and coworkers to bond over shared experiences. These moments fostered collaboration and camaraderie, further enhancing the workplace environment she had worked to create. In her personal life, Sarah used her journey to inspire others outside work. She volunteered at community centers, talking with young people about confidence and chasing dreams. Sharing her story encouraged others to embrace their paths, making even the darkest moments feel manageable. She believed everyone had the power to change their lives, no matter their circumstances. Looking ahead, Sarah felt energized for whatever lay in her path. Her foundation was built not only on her achievements, but also on the strong relationships she had created and the skills she had developed. She realized that winning was not just about her position, but about lifting others along the way. As Sarah walked through the office one day, she felt a sense of joy she had never known before. With her heart full and her spirit bright, she was ready to face any challenge with determination and grace. The journey continued to unfold, and Sarah was eager to embrace it all, both the wins and the lessons. She was no longer simply surviving. She was truly thriving.